You know, these days I am surrounded by literature, but as a kid I didn't read at all. And something that kind of weirdly inspired me to start reading was a random evening when I was at university and I was out with a group of friends. We were going from pub to pub to club, and I was getting progressively more and more drunk. And I was outside of this huge club that was actually a converted church. And as I was sitting outside with some friends who were smoking and chatting, and people were walking past and stumbling home drunk and all of that stuff, I saw this basement flat with its light on. And I sort of looked down. It was under street level, and you could just see these windows of this basement flat. And inside was a man who must have been probably at least in his 50s, maybe his 60s, and his entire flat was just piles and piles of novels. And he was sitting in an armchair in the middle of this room with books piled up all around and shelves of books, and he must have had a system. And he was sitting in this armchair, drinking a cup of tea and reading a book. And I imagine he probably had a record playing as well. It was so romantic. It was so sweet and lovely. And it's an image that, for some reason, just captivated me. Because I was just this drunk teenager. I was like 19, 20 years old. I was at university. I was surrounded by friends. I was more than half cut. And suddenly I stopped and just looked at this guy through his window. He's surrounded every day by drunk university students walking past, and he's just sitting in his basement flat, reading novels in an armchair, surrounded by piles of books. And I thought, I want to be that person. Why? Why did that image, this romantic image of this person, why did it speak to me so much? I think about it all the time, and I honestly wonder if I hadn't seen that guy in that window, would I have become the voracious bookworm that I am today? Isn't it weird? These tiny little moments that stick in your head that, at least in some small way, kind of put you on a path that took you somewhere.